Hi everybody, welcome to the Dragon's Cave. I'm hoping this video is gonna be done in time and go out as part of the Easter collaboration with Tracy at MiniScenesGB. So I've got 3 molds. I think you can probably see quite easily what this one is. They're actually all rabbits. Can't really see them very well through the mold. This one I think is holding a bunch of flowers, I think, right here. So what I'm going to do, because if you've seen any of my videos before, you probably know this, anything I do this deep, I always put some sort of filler in so that I can do them in one pour. Partly because it saves time, mostly because it saves resin, and also partly because my resin is not designed for deep pour. So I've got a couple of different fillers. They're kind of like gravel, really, from a local shop. So I've got this light green. I've got pale purple, and got a new one that I thought it might look really nice, and it's kind of Barbie pink. So yeah, I'll start getting the resin mixed up and I'll be back in a few minutes. Hi, we're back. I've got my resin mixed up. It is a little bit on the bubbly side, unfortunately. It wasn't as warm as I'd hoped. It hasn't been on the heat mat long enough, really, but I'll give it a go. I've got 3 cups here ready. Put a little bit of colour in each one, and also I've added quite a bit of this sparkly silver. Everybody loves a bit of sparkle, so I'm going to just put a bit in each cup. I mixed up, I'm using the Resin Pro eye crystal as usual. I've mixed up, what did I do? 100 grams of A and 50 grams of B. Just going to mix these a bit before I put the stones in. This is actually really thick. It's not mica powder, it's some nail powders I had lying around. It's mixing okay. Now, well, you can see that. Just thought it'd be nice to get a bit of colour behind the stones as well. I think that's mixed. No. It's the only problem with these cups, they do have a little lipper on the bottom here. I don't know if you can see that. And powders do tend to get stuck in there. Because yet again, I forgot to put the alcohol in with the powder. Something I normally do, but for some reason when I'm filming, I always forget. Let's get this one mixed up. See, it's a bit kind of thick and gloopy. If I'd put some alcohol in there, that would have made it into kind of like a paste before adding the resin. Just got to make sure I get right around those edges at the bottom, because I really don't want unmixed powder in there. It's a very pretty colour. I don't know how well you can see the colour on the screen. Although I don't really know how much of it you'll see through with the stones anyway. Let's pop that to the side, and here we go with the green one. Oops. So the thing with these type of molds, they do tend to stick to the silicone mat. So I have to be very careful. Just trying to get it out the way so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing here. And the delivery lorry has just pulled up right outside my house. Unfortunately, the delivery is not for me. Although I think my poor husband would have a meltdown if I got much more. I can barely move in my workshop as it is. Let's call it the workshop. It's actually the garage. And the car isn't in here. There's no room for the car and me. And all my tables and shelves. Okay, I think we're all mixed. Just gonna pop these back here. Okay, what am I going to do? I think I'll start with this one. I'll do the purple in here. Try and move some of these things out the way. I don't want anything getting knocked over. I like to put the stones into the resin rather than the other way around. It does tend, or I find it tends to mix a little better and easier that way. You end up with less air bubbles, in theory. There we go. That's mixing in really well. These lorries always pick the worst possible time, which is why I ended up having to buy a microphone to try and cut out some of the background noise. The delivery entrance for a pub is, well, it's not opposite my house, but outside my house seems to be the most convenient place for lorry drivers to park. I'm just going to spray a little bit of alcohol into this one. Try and prevent some bubbles. Just going to move this one out the way while I do this. Fill him up so far and then we'll give him a bit of a squish. I don't know if you can see the bubbles rising there, but make sure we don't get any bubbles trapped in his ears or in his tail for that matter. This is the first time using any of these molds. They all came from Temu. Okay. I don't see any bubbles trapped in there. But we'll find out when we demold tomorrow. I think that one, just going to put a tiny bit more in there, just because resin does shrink as it dries. If I do it slightly over, then hopefully I won't have much in the way of sanding to do. I'm going to pop that to one side, let the bubbles rise while I fill the next one. And what are we going to go with? This one's here. So let's get this bottle out of the way. And I think we'll go with the green on this one. See, I'm making a mess here again. It's about time to replace this silicone mat as well. Oops, got a little carried away there. Where am I going with this? Slightly more centered. Hopefully you'll be able to see a little better. It's probably better if you actually let this stand for a little while before putting it into the mold, let the bubbles come up. So I think what I'll do is I'll pop that one there, put the stones into the pink one, let some bubbles rise out of the green. Ooh, crunchy. This is much finer, the pink one. Don't know how well you can see. Hopefully it's okay. This is more like whereas the green and the purple were kind of fine gravel. This seems to be more of a sand. I just tend to go to the garden section of one of my local shops and pick up whatever takes my fancy and see what works really. Just going to put a bit more in there. Okay, that's getting quite thick and gloopy, but once it all settles down, it should go quite nicely. I have got a little bit more clear resin here if I need to add a bit more. Always try to hold a little bit back because I've always got something that needs topping up. Don't know if you can see how this is actually quite fuzzy on the top with all the little air bubbles. So give it a quick squirt. Okay. I think I'm introducing more bubbles than I'm getting out of it by doing this. But okay, let's give the mold a little spray. This one's actually quite detailed, so I'm really hoping that the stones don't cause too much of an issue with it. Let's start with that. Some squishing going on here. Trying to make sure that the resin gets into all the detail bits. These thick molds, it's actually quite difficult to see whether there's bubbles in there or not. It doesn't seem to be anything rising as I'm doing this, so hopefully it's going to be okay. Trying to make sure I get more of the stones in than the actual clear resin, so that I don't get a demarcation line where the resin's all floated to the top and left clear resin below. Shouldn't be quite so much of a problem with this one because I don't normally put colour in with the stones, but obviously I have this time. So if there is a line, it shouldn't be quite so obvious. Okay, I'll let that settle for a minute, let the bubbles rise, and see if he needs any topping off. Pop him over here and me get a wet wipe. Okay. Clear up some of this mess as I go along. The lid back on that and get it out of the way. Okay, and here we go with the last one. This is the bunny holding a bunch of flowers. Can't obviously see much of anything in there, but again, I'll just give it a quick squirt. Oh, and this, because it's got quite fuzzy on the top again. Okay, here we go. Bunny number 3. Some squishing going on. This looks a little lopsided actually, but I can always prop it up with something if I need to. Just hoping I've made enough for this one. This mould is bigger than I thought it was. Yeah, I'm going to have to mix up a little bit more. Okay. Okay. Let's get that all. Make sure all the sand is wet. Otherwise we could have a disaster on our hands if we end up with dry sand in the middle. It's a little bit thicker this time as well. And here we go. This will do it. I said it'll do it. Might still be a tiny bit short. Not the end of the world. Actually very close to full, so I'm not going to mix up any more. I'll just keep scraping and see what I can get out, and I will see you for the demold. Bye. Hi, back for the demold. This is my favourite bit. Okay, let's start with this one. It should be completely set by now. A bit of all the spill there. Come off quite easily, hopefully. Oh look, he's so cute. Let's put this mould back the right way around. Isn't he gorgeous? Get my paint pens out later on. I'll give him a bit of a trim. And yeah, there's a few little bubbles, but that's only to be expected with the filler. You can just about see the line there, where the stone's obviously separated from the resin. But yeah, overall I'm really happy with that one. Because I've never used these before, I don't actually know what they're supposed to look like. I can't even remember what I ordered. Oh, I'm not so happy with this one. Okay. A bunny cuddling an Easter egg. Hopefully you can see this quite well. Need to focus. This will need a lot of painting, but it's very, very bubbly, unfortunately. I'll see what I can do with them. I'll see in the photos at the end what I've managed to do to get it back. It is a very, very textured mould. I should have really expected so many bubbles. Okay, so there's those two. And this is not a squishy mould like the others, so it probably won't be quite as easy to demould. This one is kind of more solid. Got a bubble in his tail. Oh, okay, this one's going to need a little bit of alcohol to help it along. And get it, break the seal. Get a bit more in there. I'm going to have to invest in some deep pour resin. Yeah, deep pour resin, because I really don't like doing these in layers, and I would like to be able to make them without using filler. Okay, there we go, that seems better. Seems to be all separated now. His tail back out. The awkward bit's going to be getting over his nose, I think. Oh, good grief. The struggle is real. Well, that came out quite easily in the end, isn't he? Beautiful. This one's much shinier than the others, obviously because it's a different type of mould. You can still see a little bit of the separation there, but I'm really not worried about that at all. It's very pretty. You see, it's a cute little face. Okay, so I'll need to wipe that off. It feels a little sticky with the alcohol. Yeah, I'll get the detail painted. See what I can do about tidying up the other two. And here we are. My 3 little Easter bunnies. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time. Bye.